Okay, welcome back. Newdawn on the People's Tele, OGTV. True 5 UHF. We told you this morning we are looking at issues in Nigeria's federal system of government. This morning too, the papers spoke about constitutional review. The Senate said they are not going back on constitutional review. Of course, we told you the position of Afenifere on this, the position of some northern elders on this. They don't want the constitution to be reviewed, while Afenifere people are saying that it's always a jamboree, that we should go back to the recommendations of the panel put in place by former President Goodluck Jonathan. But we want to look at it more comprehensively. What are these issues, and why have we found it difficult as a nation to address those issues? We have in the studio this morning a senior citizen and an elder statesman, Justice Demola Bakri, joining us this morning. Good morning, Justice Bakri.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you all?
Good to have you join us, sir. And we also have with us a lecturer at Moshood Abiola Polytechnic here in Abeokuta, Mr. Bola Babalola, is also joining us. Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning.
It's good to also have you join us.
How do you do?
Yeah. Let's start with Justice Bakri. Justice Bakri, what is central to these issues? We know that there are so many issues that are in the Federal Constitution of Nigeria, the practice of the system itself and all of that. But what as an elder statesman, what is central to this, and what is it that Nigerians have been worried over the years about this Constitution?
Thank you very much. I have been in complete opposition to this Constitution from 1999 to 79 to date. I don't know what went wrong with the 49 wise men in 1979 when they decided to jettison parliamentary system, which we were nurtured from 1861 to 1960. And after 5 years, they recommended that we go to presidential system. Presidential system is absolute power for one person. That is the president. And I will ask myself, as Africans, are we matured enough for it? The parliamentary system is broader. It gives power to more people than the premier himself. But when I say presidential system is absolute power from the president, you can overrule the cabinet. You can decide not to invite it to his cabinet. But under parliamentary system, you can't remove me anyhow because I belong to the party. The party has to decide. Under this system, the president has to decide, not the party. You may decide not to put him there again or impeach him, but he will have done the havoc that he wants to do. Therefore, I believe in restructuring this country.
Is it the same system that that United States is practicing, Justice Bakri? The same system we are practicing?
Seemingly the same system.
Okay, seemingly.
Restructuring.
Restructuring.
Restructuring. Are you saying we should restructure to parliamentary system of government from what we have now?
Parliamentary system is part of the restructuring. It's not the main thing. Resource control is there. Regional authority, autonomy is there. The present system gives too much power to the center. And in an African system, this is better to give power to the states.
Now, Mr. Babalola, let us look at it. Different strokes for different folks, as they say, different people with their opinions. So many persons advocating for restructuring have actually said, yes, they want restructuring for different reasons. We talked about resource control, talked about devolution of powers. The powers are concentrated too much, at the center, and then states should have the powers. Then some people say that restructuring would help us solve security problems. To you, what is key really that we should actually be going for this restructuring?
Thank you very much. Let me also comment Baba here. Maybe in recent times, this is the first time I see somebody coming out into the open like this, telling us his mind concerning this pandemic constitution we are operating now, the presidential system government. Restructuring, the way I look at the whole thing, how many Nigerians really understand that concept restructuring? who started this issue of restructuring. The people who started mouthing it, in most cases, they are the politicians. And I discovered that restructuring, the issue of restructuring normally rears its head when the election is coming. I see it as a bait by the politicians just to win the people's vote. Baba mentioned something, Jamin, just now, about going back to the parliamentary system. Many people may not, the younger generations may not really know what is parliamentary system, or they may not know the modus operandi. But I believe that when we all agree to go back to this parliamentary system, it pays more than what we are in now, this presidential system. Presidential system, you mentioned, you raised the issue just now that, is it the same thing with that of America? In name, it is, but in operation, it is not. So, when you are talking about a federal system of government, federal government of Nigeria, how federal are we? It's only in name.
We are unitary.
We are operating unitary system of government.
So if it is the same that America is practicing, but not a true reflection of what the Americans are practicing, then it means the system is not bad. Then it means there's something bad with us.
Thank you, sir. You, the media, come into the open, lecture Nigerians, teach us what is the federal system of government. You will discover that many Nigerians will tell you we are not operating federal system of government. Recently, the issue of community policing came up. What is community policing? When you look at the American society, this is not a new thing there. It's the norm there. We also came up with the Amotekun. We came up with this and that. I see politicians trying to confuse us. Elders should be gathered. Builders of nations should be gathered. The remnants who were there, like Baba here, who were there from the beginning. So bring them together. What should we do? This system has failed. And let me also point it out here that it is not the system that is bad, but the operators of the system. But I know Nigerian politicians, they want something that can benefit them more than we, the people they are leading. So they may not, you are talking about the constitutional amendment. What are they amending? Since all these days, what are they amending? How far has it ever paid us? What are they amending? They should push aside that constitution, 1979 constitution. Go back and pick the independence, the Republican constitution. Look at it and make it to serve the present purpose. And it will be better. And Baba mentioned the issue of the wise men who are set up by Obasanjo Murtala regime to fashion this constitution. That what was it that came upon them that made them to decide and then pick this presidential system? So, sorry, sir. When President Goodluck Jonathan was there, he set up a national conference.
Yeah.
What is the outcome? Where is the paper? We don't need any other constitutional amendment. They should go over the paper. Let us look at it.
Even with the parliamentary system of government, regionalism, we had our own issues. There were crises, political crises, economic crisis. Some people even said it was simply because we're not seeing ourselves really as one. That was why there was civil war that almost threatened, or that threatened really, the existence of the country called Nigeria. Don't you think things like that may still rear their ugly head when we eventually, go back to parliamentary system of government, or we are divided along regional lines, and then everybody, it is to your tent, O Israel?
Don't you see that our problem is in ourselves? We had our own system of government custom in Yoruba land. The Hausas had their own. The Fulani went there to pollute it. The Igbos have their own. We had local government police, state police, before the federal Nigerian police. All these things were jettisoned, and we went to a new system altogether. And I forgot something. The system we are practicing now needs some education. And our educational percentage, even in the southwest, still less than 50%. It's about 3.1% that is educated. I mean, that's as you can read and write at all, not really fully educated. And with this system, you need some education. Our parents, my parents were educated. My grandparents were not formally educated, but they were civilized. How many people can say that in this country? And when you introduce a paper, that is the Constitution, it must be what the people want. And as I said, the problem with presidential system here is that we are not Americans. The worst black American knows his right. It is not here. My landlord is worrying me. I go to police. It's a civil matter. What concerns the police in it? Police will come, drag the two of you there. Who pays better will go away. And you see, when you talk of all these systems, when Obasanjo tried to start restructuring the country, 6 geopolitical areas. And I said, with little amendments, I'm the president of the Yoruba Council of Elders. And Kwara people came to the meeting and made a complaint. In Kwara, there are 85% Yorubas. The Fulanis are 60% of the remaining 15%, that is 12%. And they are dominating the people because of the central power. All these things put together makes one to think that if we go back to where we were nurtured, maybe we can improve a bit. You see, there's no absolute peace or justice anywhere. It is relative. It depends upon the people who are looking at it. And here with us, when I was on the bench, and even I boasted that I didn't take bribe. But they condemned the judiciary. Oh, they take bribe. Well, I can't be an exception. I have to be out of it. But I know myself. And ask people, when you bring money to me, let's call your partner. The higher bidder should be able to win if you're going to pay for it. These are the elementary things that I look at when you talk of resource control. They make all the oil in Delta, carry it to go and improve the north. It's because of the unitary system. A few things that we have to look at are that when you talk of politics, our political parties are more loyal to the party than the people who elected them. And what they do is to share money. All this, when I put issues together in Nigeria, I just ask myself, where are we coming from? Where are we? Where do we want to be? When you look at all these elements together, you begin to wonder, is there anything wrong with us? And I said in a paper that I wrote some time ago, colonialism is a bane. If you are colonized, to get out of it, you have slavish mentality. You look up to somebody. He has no independence of mind. In the party, they call you together, 500, and you vote for that party. 500 will be spent. It does not buy you a good bread. Poverty. A lot of things are wrong with us. And unfortunately, Shivawolo tried to correct this by trying to give us basic education. If you are educated, it's the time you can query your father. Under our culture, you dare not raise your eyes. When your father has visitors, you get out of the sitting room, go to the backyard. I used to tell my father, if a thing is wrong, it's wrong, no matter who has done it. Look at the principle. And he asked me to keep quiet. But he knew I wouldn't keep quiet. He used to call me Shawcross, that eminent lawyer from England. He said, I didn't know I was going to study law then. You see, when we look at Nigeria's problem, it is for all of us to sit down and see what we can do to improve. You cannot be have absolute justice or absolute peace. It is the people looking at it, and from what angle are they looking at it, and the way it affects them. At the moment, I go back to the Bible most of the time. Ichabod, the glory has departed.
Now, from your, I mean, you've been around for a very long time. From your experience, and then from having studied the situation in the country, you are convinced that what will solve the problem, what will bring normalcy back to the country, is regionalism, true federalism.
True federalism, you see, that means we go back to what it was when we had three regions. Now, even the creation of what we call the Bengal state then was politically motivated. It was to fight the action group. You see,
but there were also people who were complaining that I mean, the minorities were complaining that
even in England there are minorities. If you are fair and just, they will not complain. Give them what is due for them. Not make money in Kano, go and improve Lagos with it. Lagos has 20 local governments. Kano has 44. What is there? Go and see Lagos. They don't sleep. Lagos is, in my opinion, when you do correct census, it's bigger than any other state in this country. There are so many people there. Everybody goes to Lagos. And as I said, it is fair play that can resolve all these things. Not winner takes all. We won the election, therefore we take everything to ourselves. You see, I'm a very singular person in my thinking. I criticize our governor. He set up a board. Everybody was a Christian. We have Muslims in this state. Why did he do that? You should go back and see what his predecessors were doing. All those things are things that I don't believe. I was a civil servant. Understand me? But you can tell government what is wrong in a very good language. You don't insult government, because it's your own government, it's your own people. You can tell them. But the problem in this country is that, look at Malafia now, they're pushing him about because he's speaking the truth. Look, listen to him. That's not, in England, they will bet you. You want to tap your brain and see that they will threaten you a bit, but then they will resort to so that they can tap your brain. Then they put it somewhere to help. Most people who talk are not able to act. But our government, once you talk, you are their enemy. It is not right. It is because of our backwardness.
Mr. Barola, I know Justice Bakri will also want to comment on this. In the papers this morning, we reviewed 4 papers this morning. 3 of them had on their front pages hard knocks for Obasanjo because of his comment recently that Nigeria is a failed nation. And the knocks came from the presidency and the Arewa Consultative Forum. But Obasanjo is getting support, or he got Obasanjo is being supported by Afeni Ferry and Ohanezen. Now, and we're saying we want to be a united nation. I mean, should that be the position of the presidency at this point in time?
When you look at our situation in this country, it is North versus South, East versus West. In our thinking, as individual Nigerians, even if somebody from Abeokuta here, think or look at himself first and foremost as somebody from community A. Somebody from Ogun State, look at himself from town A, town B. Somebody from Nigeria now, from section A versus section B. Until we are able to begin to think as Nigerians. We are just determining ourselves as of today. We don't have a typical Nigerian. We have Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. Those are the 3 dominant. We have more than hundreds. Others, they are there, the minorities. We suppress them. As Baba mentioned the other time, that you can't wish away the minority. They will always be there. Now, Obasanjo spoke, and he will continue to speak as long as he's alive. But how many people have the same audacity like Obasanjo to talk like that? My life here, a well-noted, well-exposed individual, former public officer, spoke his mind. And since then, they have been pushing him here and there. How do you expect even an ordinary Nigerian to speak his mind? And that is what the government wants. They want to suppress everybody. They don't want you to talk. Even what you are saying, even when they were in the opposition, they did more than that. But now people are saying it. They said, you can't talk. You can't. But one thing I just know is this. I was at the reception there when the newspaper review was ongoing. And I told someone, I said, look at these people. They are predictable. People knew that will be their response. So they are too shallow as far as I'm concerned. They are so predictable. Government don't operate that way.
Is it expected that Nigeria should always disagree on issues like these? Is there a reflection of our constitution? Constitution. I don't mean the document now. As a people, because of a makeup. Because if I find Hannity are supporting Obasanjo, and ACF is supporting the federal government and the presidency, then it tells you that the divide is natural.
No. Listen to me. Even your family, even your home, is it every time you agree with your wife? Even your children, at times, anywhere you have 2 or 3 people, where you have values, there will be a conflict. But it is your responsibility to ensure that conflict does not degenerate to crisis. So you can't wish that one away. And that is what the government, the federal government in this respect is not coming to terms with. That don't expect everybody to always say yes to what we are saying. No. We have individual personalities, individual differences, sexual differences, regional differences, tribal differences, ethnic differences, religious differences. So listen to the opposition. Even it will help you to perform better.
Justice Bakri, is it not strange that the former president in the class of a global personality, Chief Obasanjo, will talk and the presidency will ignore him? I thought that former presidents are supposed to be consulted, they're supposed to be listened to and all of that when it comes to national issues.
You are talking of a proper atmosphere. As he rightly said, whether we want it or not, we are sharply divided. And you see, we're an artificial contraption. Nigeria is an artificial contraption. We are incongruent. People mark together, congruency in geometry and the incongruency. That's what we have coming across now. We look at I worked in the North as a young man, and I was there in 1999 for the electoral election. I was chairman of my electoral commission. We, as he rightly said, we don't see ourselves as Nigeria. And that's why I said there's no country like Nigeria. The effort made by Obasanjo should have been followed by them. Gradual restructuring from 3 regions to 1 Nigeria. Now back to 6 geopolitical regions. Let them manage their resources, contribute to maintain the federal. These things, because we are not seeing ourselves as Nigerians. I was a young boy in the railways in 1953, and there was a quarrel in the afternoon between a Yoruba man and the wife of an Hausa man. And I was in Jangaru, 7 miles from Minna. About midnight, I was a station staff at night duty. And about 12 o'clock in the night, they brought local government police to come and arrest my pointsman. At night. Can that be done in a civilized situation? I'm talking of 53 now. Even up till today. I remember when I was in college, after the election of 51, Aminu Kano came to Ife and Dabo, and they said that they won the primary election. It was primary, intermediate, and final then. They won the primary election, and they had to queue behind their candidate. And all they did, the NPC did, was to go and bring the alkalis. All they do is that, Kay, Malam Jerwa, Kay, Kanana now, Shebuni Kay, are you a bastard? And they will move away. That is talking of 51, 52. It has not changed till today. And with all due respect to everybody, I don't believe in one Nigeria.
Justice Bakri, you said...
I don't believe in one Nigeria.
You said 49 wise men.
Yes.
They
were being academic.
Yeah, because even now, we could still gather 49 wise men.
Yes.
How wise? How wise?
They were being academic.
What if...
My Oga, Rotimi Williams, teleguided all of them, because he already was in... He's forgotten his own position that he was civilized, he was educated. He went to Cambridge when he guided them to go back to presidential system, which we had not been nurtured in. And you see, and as I said, presidential system, the governor owns the state. The president owns Nigeria. One person, African for that matter. If you look at our background, we are dictators by nature. In our culture, when the Oba says something, or the Bale says something in the village, that is the end of it. It is not so when you are educated, you ask questions. And people now ask questions, you want to quiet them. It is not practicable. And that's why we're having a problem every day. So people are keeping quiet. The OGTV, look at the way. If you bring OGTV here, why didn't you make a good road? Would they get there? And they're riding cars? And they're going to maintain their cars? These little things are the things spoiling Nigeria. 49 wise men, if you build 199 wise men, a few people will guide them. Because I know some people, when you give them homework to do, they go to sleep. And some will work. It is those that work. I have been in committees, I prepare my papers, and of course, what do you have for us? Most of the time in the old Western region, if you go and hold a national meeting, they ask you, what has the West brought up for us? Because we were nurtured to work hard and bring out good papers. That's the still in Ogun State today. What you imbibe from the old West. Hard work. Not just academic matter, you go and copy people's work. No! Initiative, you have initiative. And the others copy us. Go to a national meeting now. The others don't bring anything. They bring wishy-washy papers. They go and look at their record and just bring one thing. Ogun State will go and do research. And AS will write a paper for a permanent secretary, and they will sit down together and discuss it, because the other man is younger, the other one is older, old school and new school. So they get to the average of it. That is the problem with the Constitution. That immediately I read that paper in 1914, when the 49 I just told them, we are joking. We want to be American in Nigeria. The Americans are civilized. When the police arrest you, you get justice done. Pray not to be arrested by our police here today. They will have beaten hell out of you before you get to the police station.
Mr. Wala, one thing we have all agreed upon is the operations of our constitution. Yeah, we agree that there are issues with the federal system of government. What if Nigeria goes for parliamentary system of government today? What about operation? What about the operators?
Okay. Without being immodest, let me ask you, have you ever read through Nigerian Constitution?
Not entirely.
As exposed, educated, well-informed that you are. So we see how Baba decided to go down the memory lane. How many of our students in our schools today can tell you this? So we are operating a paper. It's as if they cover our eyes and ask us to read a book. That's the parliamentary system and the presidential system. Parliamentary system, after I said the other time, it is not the constitution that will work. It is the people who operate the constitution. If we all agree, this 1979 constitution is not our constitution. It's their constitution, the military constitution. And you are always hammering on the issue of 49 wise men. Baba said it's academics. How wise are they? They were 50 before. Baba Awolowo, if I will not be making a mistake, opted out.
Yes.
That made them to remain 49. In other words, even Baba Williams, who
Why did Awolowo opt out?
We agree with them in composition.
Yes.
Right from the composition,
Yes.
and the term they gave them, term of reference, so he said, I can't work with this one.
What was wrong with the composition?
And he was not consulted before. They just announced his name. He said that. Why should I?
Even Akindele?
So
Is that what was wrong with the composition?
no.
No, you see, if you bring people together, for example, you ask me to go and sit down with a person who did not pass primary 6 to prepare a constitution, he will drag me back right from the point one. You see, from people make some mistakes, you think Northerners are backward. There are eminent materials amongst them. I've worked with them. I had some boys, the Bama was my youth corps. It was excellent, better than most Yoruba people. There are those amongst them. So take out those things, but you go and bring Malam, who is writing my Makaranta, to go and sit down with a graduate. There will be no unison in their work. If the other man, even will listen with native intelligence, because we are no more using African culture. We are now trying, and we should move to that level. We can't move if more than 70% are illiterate. So if you drive, they say they want to review constitution. Who wants to review constitution?
Just Bakri, some people that are watching us are likely to say this issue is being discussed this beautifully because it is on a Southwest television station. What if some Northerners were also gathered on TV Taraba, Sokoto television station, Zamfara TV station? They're likely to have a different position entirely, to what we're having, Justice Bakri.
They are not likely to have their position if you put the right people there. You see, even in the West today, not all of us agree with the system of government. I was telling you, coming to UGTV, there's no road. That's not good. It's a national utility, and a state that is here. And this is the signature of all eyes for Ogun State. You can't get there. How do you do presentation? If I was coming in an Opel car, definitely it would be different. I had to come in a Jeep to drive to this place, and even then I felt it. There are some things that our governments ought to do. Our governments ought to do. When Awolowo spoke of free education, it has to be free and qualitative, not raw. There are so many things that are wrong with us, and I just don't believe sit down and criticize government. No, there are some things they want to do. They haven't got the fund. There are some materials that are necessarily antagonistic to government. They won't invite him because, you see, there's no government that is perfect. They don't want you to show their weakness to everybody. These are the things that we all have to consider. I've never seen our governor face to face, the new governor. The one that left was very close to me. I therefore moved away from this one. I'm not a person who wants to move because I don't even need anything, and they won't. By the grace of God, has provided enough for me when it comes to need. Therefore, I don't lay my head under anybody. But I do not just go and criticize a government. I try and say, what you did, I think was wrong. You could have done this. That is constructive criticism. Yes. Not, you are wrong. Absolutely, and push it. Throw the baby away with bathwater. That is not my attitude. There is no perfect government, but we can tell them where they are going wrong. No government is perfect. A young man who is running Ogun State now today was put there. He was not ready. So he has to be. Now,
Mr. Balala, let us look at it from this angle. Let us look at it from this angle.
Okay.
Are you optimistic, really, that the restructuring that we all clamor for, okay, not we all, because there are some people who do not want it. Okay. Now, that restructuring.
People are shopping from it.
Yes. Okay, now, that restructuring, how optimistic are you that it is going to see the light of day? Because in this country, we have seen situations where some people spoke, passionately about something, and then when they were given the opportunity, they actually went against it. They said, this thing is not possible. Okay. Now, in the West and probably in the East, the the clamor for restructuring is on the I side.
Okay.
Now, what if the Igbo man becomes president tomorrow? He may actually not want to go ahead to restructure because he knows power is going to be reduced from him. And then, I mean...
Yeah, before we go for restructuring, we need an enlightenment. Let us tell the people what is the meaning of restructuring. What are we restructuring? What are we restructuring? Then, why do we need to restructure? What is restructuring? What is wrong with the present system? So, we are just saying restructuring. Politicians are saying it more often than not. And those who are eating from it. What is restructuring?
Mr. Bala, I'd like to put that
not helping matter.
I'd like to put that to you back.
Yeah.
Mr. Bala, you lecture at Mapoli.
Yeah.
And I know you teach general studies.
Yes.
Do you teach these? Have you taught your students?
I have a textbook I brought along when I was coming, talking about all this issue. Having the textbook is one thing. Another matter is for people to read it. That's just it. Today people read to pass. They are not studying. What Baba is saying now, how many of our graduates can say it? Even they study history at the university level. How many of them? So, then, I used to believe in my heart that we need to, before you can contest for any elective post in this place, people should look at your pedigree. There should be, the space between the conclusion of the election and the swearing, what do we use it to do? There should be a forum created, bringing in well-versed men in the history of politics, governance, public policy, to come just like we do for traditional rulers. We put them in a PB before the coronation, the abbey. We should do that also for these people. Somebody will just have money somewhere and backers.
What should be happening during that period?
What do you
suggest? What do you suggest should be happening during that period?
Okay. What is governance? What is leadership? What is expected of people in power? Those are the issues.
So somebody who is contesting, should actually have knowledge of all of
what
these.
knowledge? What knowledge is it? Is it not showing in the performance of our governors, the performance of our senators?
Can we say that, I mean, they do not have knowledge of governance, or their selfish interest is actually making them not to do what is expected?
Or they are not groomed well by the political parties?
Who is grooming who? Is it the what do they call the godfathers who have the money just to sponsor people into governance so that you can corner the resources of the state and the nation? What grooming? There's no political grooming in this country. Okay. That's the problem.
You see, the problem we are having is that the proper people are not going there. Look, Yari Dada left here as general manager. Such a person should go and be chairman of their local government. He's enlightened, but they won't give him a chance because he has no money to give them. Our problem is that, and as I said, poverty in the first place. You can buy 100 people if you have money, and they'll vote for you, even when you are in it with yourself. But by accident, you have money. I mean, may he rest in peace. That Yebugu man was our senator.
Kashamu.
Yes. And Obasanjo said, let us go to America together. Because he was a wanted person there. All these things are the problem we are having. As I said, we were nurtured from 1861 to 1960. Democracy, parliamentary system. Then we had it from 1960 to 65. 15th of January 66, the army came in, they were in a hurry. And they drew us back for 35 years. The army itself will never take over again because they know they can't do it. Nigeria as a country is very complex. What works in Lagos is not likely to work in Ibadan. And it is even better southwest. Go to the east. Most of the people who come here to talk, they can't talk in their village because of Bandu. Go to the north. The peasants in the north are not recognized at all. You have to look at the situation in which you are before you make laws. And as I said, I believe in regionalism than centralization. Central authority in this country, Nigeria is the largest in Africa. You travel from Imeko to Waterside. How many roads are good there? The government wants to do it. There's no fund to do everything at once. And somebody who read history will retire and say, I'm a contractor. And you give him road to tar for you because of his connection. He'll go and invite technicians, no engineer. Say, I'm an engineer. The man did not do ND.
Now, from the body language of the present government at the federal level, restructuring is not going to see the light of the day. And we dare not even take
to the third Israel.
Well, we dare not take it to the National Assembly because I don't think we're going to give it a chance.
Which National Assembly?
Now.
But they're insisting, Senate is insisting that...
People are shopping money. Senate takes 36 million.
National Assembly.
Well, when
I worked for 46 years. My gratuity was less than 20 million. What are you talking about?
National Assembly.
Now, let us look at it. The National Assembly may not give it a chance.
Yes.
Now, when we come to the socio-cultural groups, the Aranese, Arewa, and even the Afenifere, they are also divided as to whether we should restructure or not. While some believe that, yes, restructuring is the way it will solve the problems, some believe that it is not going to solve our problems. Some even believe in secession. Now, what do you suggest that we do as an elder statesman? Where do we go from here?
There is no absolute answer because of the nature of our people. But I think we could go big. As I said, as far as I'm concerned, Obasanjo did his best. He started, have these 6 regions out as against 3. These regions, what are their powers? We look at it now, and when I say of restructuring, what are their powers? How can Buhari wake up one day and say, I'm going to do ration in Ogun State? I'm going to do the Ruga. It is because of his parliamentary, and as far as I'm concerned, my fear in this country is that the Fulanis are not seeing Nigeria as our country, but as their country. That belongs to them. They conquered. Whom did they conquer? They couldn't cross Oshobo to come to the southwest. And I don't want us to go back to old wounds. Let us try and modernize our views. Let us see ourselves as brothers and sisters, that we want to build well, there's no utopia anywhere, you see, but then we can live together in peace. If I have yam and you have rice, we can exchange. This has happened for many years, but it appears that those of us who are educated, the elites amongst us, are the ones really planting the
discord.
Seed of discord amongst us. They're not helping situation, and it's because they are selfish, and it's because of lack of education, not being literate or illiterate. I'm not saying, I'm talking of education. People who are educated are enlightened. They see things in a different version altogether. But some people, they have a PhD, he wants money, grab. After you've had some muscles, if you take more than that, you fall sick.
Now, Mr. Bala, do you think the judiciary has a role to play in all of this? Can we go to, the courts to get injunction that, okay, give injunction that the federal government pronounce regionalism so that we can all, have this restructuring that we want?
I will say little on that, Baba will enlighten us more. I don't think that one lies within the purview of the judiciary. Just make a proclamation like that. I take a government to court and say, government must do this, you must give us regionalism. Is that what you are asking?
Yes.
If that one is possible, we have done it all this while. I don't think that one.
In some other societies, Babaola, we've had the mass of the people come out.
Okay.
Unanimously.
Okay.
And they say this is what we want. You see, is it possible for us to have the mass of the people in Nigeria unanimously speak with one voice?
Okay, maybe I don't know whether it is still possible to go to the 1993 era, when the whole Nigeria came together with one voice to make a choice, and also what happened prior to the 2015 election, and people are saying they don't want PDP in power, this and that. But poverty, as Aaron mentioned, ethnicity, religious affiliation, and so on. Those ones, people think along that line than thinking along national interest. So those are the things that will not even give us the opportunity to have a mass mobilization of people for a single cause in Nigeria now. That's why people now hide under these sectional or regional groups like the Ohanese, Afenifere, ACF, and so on and so forth. Let me also put it across to you. If somebody should come on the street now, Chapman, for instance, and say, tomorrow, Abeokuta, nobody should open the shop. We are going to march to governors. Even your husband, your wife will be pulling your coat, say, don't kill me. I'm not ready to be an orphan now. So until we are, I used to tell my students, what you are not ready to die for, you don't have right to possess it. Look at this, all these terrorists. They don't care. They are ready to die what they believe in. That's why they push on, they do. Though what they are doing is bad. What I'm saying is that they are ready to die for what they believe in. But how many Nigerians are ready to die for what we believe in?
I mean, in Southwest, do we even die for? Do we even care to die for anything in Southwest?
They will tell you who will now. Are you the one who will now become Jesus Christ or MK Abiola?
Anyway,
but I go and sit down.
Anyway, we have to go now because of our time. I would like to thank you so much, Justice Dumola Bakri, senior citizen, elder statesman, for your very, very well-informed submissions on today's program. We thank you so much for coming, sir. As always, thank you so much. Mr. Abalola, we also thank you for also joining us this morning. This is one topic that we could discuss for 3 hours because there are still other areas that we've not even touched. But then, you know, in television, there's always, you know, deadline for, for every program. So we have to go now. Dominic.
Yes, thank you so much also for staying tuned to the People's Tele OGTV. That's the size of the program Newdawn for this morning. Otojo will be here tomorrow. Ensure you join our crew. Myself and Biodun Alabi, Dominic Agbeha and Biodun Alabi will be back here again next week Monday for another wonderful edition of the program. Have a wonderful day.
This is OGTV, the People's Tele.